I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, August the 28th, brought to you in part by Zactran. Provide your calves with the BRD control that they deserve. Treat your cattle with one cost-effective dose of Zactran. Remember to observe your 35-day withdrawal period after treatment. For more information, go to Zactran.com or visit with your BI representative. We've got fall pressure, and we really haven't even officially gotten into fall yet, but I tell you what, it's just looking like that all your prognosticators are searching for bearish news fundamentally. Really nothing's changed. We got that cattle on feed report. If you look hard enough, you can find some bearish news in there and ignore anything that's positive, and that's just looks like what they're doing. A lot of your traders, your fund managers, that are doing the trading in your cattle futures, they're really relying on technicals. They've been looking at this 40-day moving average, which is 106.15, and everybody was really looking on Thursday what was going to happen. Well, which way the close was going to be from 106.15, and where did the board close for October? 106.15. So it just shows you, what we're caught up in right now. And now we've got calves coming. A lot of those are ballers, kind of fleshy. Some of them are coming early because we got drought conditions. You guys think you've got drought conditions. Come to the Texas Panhandle if you want to see some drought conditions. But sometimes it tickles me, and I know it's what you get used to. But a friend of mine in Nebraska was telling me how dry it was up there. Well, I was just up there. It's not dry, but it's dry to him, and I understand that. But when you live in the desert, that's just what you get used to, and it's always dry. Here we got people in the southern plains that are absolutely going to scratch their wheat in here, and if it could just get cloudy one day, that they'd be tickled to go ahead and sow their wheat with that. But I tell you what, we've got a lot of fall type pressure here. And and it's been your funds, it's been your managed money that's give us this recent rally in the futures market, and now they're starting to sell off. They're not liking the technicals. They're thinking that we've squeezed all they can out of this thing, even though it's not that high. But they're feeling like that's all they can get out of it. Now they're going to take it down, and you couple that with a lot of hedging pressure off of outfits that have bought a lot of cattle in the last 6-8 weeks. That they haven't decided to hedge up yet. They start selling the board off that way, and we can't stop it. We just can't stop it. And so that's where we're at right now, and we've likely got some pretty tough times ahead. On our fat cattle market, it could get worse than it was during the worst of the COVID, because we don't have these token bids from your packers anymore. They're not feeling sorry for us anymore. They're not worried about the USDA investigation. We've already had a preliminary report come from that investigation telling the industry to help itself and giving us the blueprint on how to do it. By mandating minimum negotiated cash trade and then using mandatory price reporting to oversee that. And our biggest trade association thumbed their nose at it and fought tooth and nail against it. So, USDA is not going to feel sorry for us anymore. They are saying that we might get a little bit more money from the CFAP deals, so could get some more cheese checks out of that. But if guys are really in trouble, it's not going to save them. And remember, every time a small individual producer gets one of those checks, just think about what those big corporate outfits are getting. It's just multi-times folded. But and you can't worry about them getting money. You got to take care of yourself. But that's the way that cookie crumbles. But we've just got a lot of pressure here, and we got some tough times ahead, and we've just got to work through it. Some people think that we're got heavy supplies of these market-ready cattle going to last till the end of the year. Some of us think that it's kind of caught back up. I think the numbers, the head counts have caught up. We've just still got to struggle through these weights. and weights make pounds, and that's how you sell cattle and beef, is through pounds. So we do have to work through those. But as light as some of those placements were, this spring we're bound to find a place where these cattle feeders can get some more leverage. Whether they can take advantage of that leverage or whether they can see it whenever it's there, I don't know. We may not have a transparent enough market to get that done, but there will be opportunities before the end of this year to get things shored back up again. Whether or not we can take advantage of those is yet to be seen. But talk about some other things that's going on. You guys have to excuse me. I'm a little drunk on patriotism as I record this. I've been watching the Republican convention there, and if you guys aren't getting some patriotism on your sleeve, I mean, you must be dead from the neck up. But it was just a lot of good speeches there, things to make you feel good about this. I think we're a little bit threatened here that the Democrats could come in and knock Trump off. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here because the lion's share of you folks that are watching this feel the same way I do. But for those of you that have kind of got bored with Trump, or maybe you're just disinfatuated with him, you don't, the way he rubs you a little bit raw. I know there's a few of you out there. I know there might be a few of you. I know one of you answers to Grump. Just think about what it would be like if Biden would happen to get in there. He doesn't have the wits about him enough to know what he's really doing. So he's got this leftist agenda that's pushing him, and he doesn't know enough to fight back against it because they're the ones that got him in there. So if you think about what could happen, they want to disperse wealth. Okay, what's the greatest form of wealth is property. You cattle producers out there that's got property, you may not feel like you're rich, but that's the only thing they're not making any more of. And you think they're going to allow you to keep that property or be able to afford to keep it? I don't know. You got to look at that. They're wanting to do away with fossil fuels. They're going to really cramp down on our cattle feeding, our beef production. They want to do their type of conservation on our lands, which, if you guys have been paying attention here lately, leads to huge fires everywhere. How you guys going to keep your leases, your government grazing leases and things like that? They could just go in there and change all that up. That's what they want to do. They want to make beef a luxury at best. If you look at that Green New Deal, that stuff's in there, guys. And I don't care what you think about Trump. Maybe he does rub you the wrong way. Maybe Trump's not that nice of a guy. Well, nice guys finish last. And we've got to get behind him, and you've got to tell people that don't understand why you're behind him and tell him how much it could change this world. I know we've got to have every vote we got, which is not very damn much when you're talking about people in animal agriculture and particularly in cattle. But we've got to have every vote there is, guys, if we want to continue to do things the way we've been doing them for the last couple of 100 years. But just looking at the chaos that we've got going on in this country right now, and we've got these rioters disguised as protesters out there, and there's no way to control them. We've got to let our law enforcement officers do that. You think the Biden administration is going to do that? They're wanting to defund law and order here. And I just the way you got to control all this is you've just got to give the authority to those law enforcement people. You've got to make everybody know that they're justified in taking care of the situation. They're justified in their shooting. If a law enforcement officer encounters somebody and they have to tell you more than once, then they're justified in taking control of that situation. Most of us, don't even consider that. We just think, well, yeah, somebody's got to have the authority to take control. I don't care how big a shot you are, how big and strong you are, how much money you got, or how much whatever. If the blue lights come on behind you, 99% of us are going to pull over. But then you've got that 1 degree of people there and they'll usually do it too, unless they're in mobs or in packs. When they're running in packs like wolves and they get pretty brave, and then when they're by themselves, they'll normally take heed too, unless they're strung out on dope or something, and then they don't do it. And but everybody's got to understand. I don't know if we send out pamphlets and you know, just turn them loose from airplanes or helicopters. But everybody has to understand, if a police officer tells you to do something more than once and you don't do it, he's justified in his shooting. That's the way you control all that. Every time you see one of these deals that everybody gets upset about, they're resisting arrest. You know, if they tell you to get down on your belly, if they tell you to put your hands up, they tell you to stop doing something more than once and you don't do it, bang. It's over. That would also control most of these rioting and everything. They tell you, stop setting shit on fire, and you don't do it, bang. It would take care of all of it immediately. But we've just got to give them the authority to do that. And like I say, I know I'm preaching to the choir. I'll get off my box, but I haven't really unleashed on you guys for a little bit because it usually stirs stuff up. But just like I said, I've been drunk on patriotism this week, and on Thursday night it really got big. But let's look at the board for Thursday. August live cattle futures down $1.07 at 102.97. October down 85 cents at that 106.15 that I told you. But you know, you look at that spot August, and nobody's watching it anymore because here we are at the very tail end of August, and they're supposed to come together, and right in our face it went down again, less than 103, still selling cattle 105, but they did start selling some backed up to that. They make it harder. You know, in a perfect world you'd have your packers long hedging, and then they could demand delivery at those lower prices, which would, you know, would eventually make the market go up, but it doesn't balance out that great. But October live cattle 106.15, that's the 40-day moving average. You're going out front from there on your live cattle, and they're from down a dime to down $1.17. You're going out to April, which is always our highest, and then it was getting up there, getting close to looking at maybe $1.20. It's down to 114.75 now. August feeder cattle down $0.50 at 141.97. September down 55 at 141.22. Going your out fronts on feeder cattle down 17 to down 82 cents. Your fat cattle trade, you remember late last week, if you remember late last week, we've gone through a lot of down markets since just late last week. We were setting new highs, especially on the cleanup trade. Your fat cattle just kept getting higher and kept getting higher, and very late in the week, Thursday and Friday, we had some live sales in the northern plains on some of those better cattle as high as $1.10. That wasn't where the market was established, but we had them. We had some dress sales up there at 174. I mean, it was by regionals on some better cattle, but that wasn't the whole market, but that was the extreme top of the market. This week it's the opposite. It's progressively lower. We started selling cattle on Monday, and it's just worked progressively lower and lower and lower, and now we're seeing our lows for the week coming in here at the tail end of the week, and there's not a lot of trade to talk about, but still they're selling some that way. Iowa, 2,000 head confirmed on Thursday from 104 to 105.5. What happened to our 107? They had some dress sales from 164 to 166. Nebraska, only 1,100 head confirmed. Some 103 in Nebraska. They're short of market-ready cattle, guys, and they sold some on Thursday at 103. And some dress sales from 165 to 168. A few loads in Kansas at 104. In Texas, no trade there. But I tell you what, guys are getting pretty disenchanted here, and now we're going to get rid of the August futures and go to October. Hell, it's not any better. We've worked it down to 106.15, and you know, our weighted average is going to be pretty tight in there, but just under that. Box beef cutout values, they've just about ran out of steam, and I'd say this is probably the end of it because they were making huge gains there for the last 10 days, 2 weeks. But on Thursday, choice cuts up 9 cents at 231.54. Select 214.26, up 15 cents. So your packers finally had to back off of those to get any product to move. We're going to have light movement for this week on box beef for current delivery, and now as we go further, it's just going to be too late for any of that Labor Day demand that we usually see. Slaughter, 472,000 through Thursday. That's 2,000 more than last week, 1,000 more than the same week a year ago, which is good. But we got our actual slaughter data in for the week ending August the 15th, and these weights they're just troubling. We knew they were going to be, but they're still troubling. Your average steer carcass weight just 2 weeks ago was 909 pounds on the average. That was 3 pounds more than the previous report. 19 pounds more than the 5-year average, 28 pounds more than the same time last year. We've got to work through those. Like I said, I believe we've got the head counts kind of taken care of. We've absorbed the backlog of them, but we still got these weights backed up. We've got to work through those before we can get any kind of leverage if we do run into a hole, as we had those lighter numbers of placed cattle there this spring, and they're going to show up sometime this fall later, I guess. But let's talk about your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DV auction late in the day on Thursday at 140.01, down another 85 cents. And you think that's sitting right at 140, and that's real time. Your latest CME cash feeder cattle index was about $3 higher than that, and hasn't absorbed the losses that we saw on Thursday. And it's just when you got a market that's all of a sudden that much lower, a lot of those cattle just don't end up going into the index, and it's just the human element in it, guys. I did that stuff for 20 years nearly, and I know how that works. Sometimes those cattle just don't get in there, but in all reality, when we've got it automated like what we've got it, 140.01 is your index in your brick and mortar sale barns. Got a big sale coming up Monday at Elgin, Nebraska. Talked to Ted Baum there this week, and he's got a big run of cattle. The King outfit's got a bunch of cattle coming in there, and we want to make sure we give them a shout, and you guys go in there and support that sale in Elgin, Nebraska on Monday. Talk about your big sales on Thursday. How about Farmers and Ranchers Livestock, Salina, Kansas, 2,600 head, $2 to $5 lower. And it's been that way all week, guys. Started out Monday in Oklahoma City that much lower. All your high volume sales that had a comparison for last week were at least that much lower. $2 to $5 lower, except on some big heavy heifers weighing over 9, $2 to $3 higher, but that would have been a rare exception. Pratt livestock there, winter livestock in Pratt, 2,500 head there, also $2 to $5 lower. That's your market. It's that much lower in your cash feeder cattle sales. But a pretty good stick out sale there on some cattle they considered value added. 55 head, 831 pound steers at 147 and a quarter. Give you a few other stick out deals on Thursday. How about Stockman's Livestock Exchange in Dickinson, North Dakota? And as we talk about that sale, I want to congratulate Larry Schnell from that sale barn. He's the new LMA president. Got some big boots to fill there, literally, with Tom Fry. But congratulations to Larry Schnell there, and he's going to have that office for 2 years. But at his sale barn there on Thursday, 132 head of steers, weighed 943 at 139 and a quarter. That'd be tops. But the best quote that I saw anywhere on Thursday, and I got to give credit to Dakota Davis. He's a young fella there that's very aggressive, and he's working at it, guys. And I mean, he's reviving, that mausoleum that they built many years ago there in Enid, Oklahoma, and he's making something out of it. He's got that sale barn leased. He was up in Caldwell, Kansas there, where he grew up, and had that sale barn going pretty good, and he bit off a hunk, and he's down there, moved his young family down there, and making it work with an excellent facility there, but nobody's ever had much success with it, but he's giving it a go. And on Thursday at the Enid Livestock Market, 121 head of 860 pound steers bring 143.85. And that's your feeder flash for Friday.